Just a lot of iconic moments already, a lot of iconic voices. Again, DJ Wheat will be joining us on the broadcast a little bit later if you heard him in that recap. But my favorite part, Gauntlet kills, ZSX, all day, all day.
You're a simpleton, though, so that doesn't surprise me.
Well,
Um,
I mean, yeah, of course.
I mean, we've been in a couple of weeks now, but is there any standout players or trends that you see emerging that you didn't expect so far?
No, I was gonna say that I expected Razy. Razy just, I mean, you saw some of the score lines on that recap. I would think it was like 25-2 on Molten. Razy is always on another level. It's always a pleasure to watch him play. But Rafa as well for the NA side for the Americas. But anything stand out for me? I think this match is kind of going to prove what's the standout here. Is nosfa going to hold his ground for the battle for SA, or is maxter going to take it and kind of solidify? Hey, I'm the new dog in town right here. Like I'm the guy.
Yeah, we saw Max Storm week one really sharp, and he was a standout for me. Also in NA, I think Dewey's just been playing really well as well. Liking what I'm seeing. I think he's got a bye week this week, so I might not be able to spectate him. But NA overall has just been taking those steps forward, and I think on the EU side, it's been as expected so far. But CNZ putting the 3 over a cooler was somewhat unexpected. But again, building on that momentum we saw at QuakeCon, and it wasn't somewhat of a fluke. He deserves everything he's got.
Yeah, incredible run at QuakeCon, and I love the backhanded compliment about my NA boys, but we'll take it. You know, we're making strides every day. We're trying our best.
You do. You keep going.
I wish you could just pat me on the head after you said that. Be like, "You're doing great, sweetheart." But yeah, again, a lot of jam-packed action coming up. Again, battle for SA right off the bat. nosfa maxter, effortless to hang, Kilson Sparty, Zanaku Saigib, Dramas Rafa, Cooler versus Wenger, and Avik Razy. Again, the last two DJ Wheat will be joining us on that broadcast. But if you missed anything, you want to dig into some stats, you want to see kind of what's going down, prize breakdown, all that stuff, don't forget to go to quake.pglesports.com. Brand new site set up. It's got challenger information that starts next week, but all the Pro League information, all the breakdown, everything that you want to see right at your fingertips. A lot of information to sift through.
Yeah, it's good. It's all come together and at your disposal because it's kind of your handbook and your guidebook for the full series, the full season, if you will. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do some side bets with friends, I'm not condoning that at all in any official capacity.
I'd
But
love
I'm
to have
just
one of those
saying.
little sticker books that you get when you're a kid, you know, they've got players' faces and fancy Quake. I'd like to see a fancy Quake League.
Who do you think would have the best sticker? Would it just be logo, like
Avec.
team logos? Avec. Just hair, like Johnny Bravo.
Exactly. Can't go wrong with that.
That GIF, that whoever made that GIF, I think I think it was Endpoint, right? Fantastic, absolutely fantastic GIF there. I'm a big fan. But before we get into the pick bans and all that, right? Gut feeling. I know the pick bans for champs and maps matter. Right off the bat, though, what's your feeling on nosfa versus maxter?
I think they'll still take it. He's looking more mature than he has done in the past. I think on the analysis, we all spoke about how he might have taken a little bit of a dip, considering how storming he was in season one, stage one, sorry. But he's definitely come back, and I feel has found his rhythm again. We haven't seen a lot of Max. Every time he comes out, he puts on a good show. There is still chinks in his armor that he needs to round, and he'll have a lot more experience to get nosfa, so it'll be a bit more balanced on that side. I still think nosfa should just be able to take it on a 2-1.
I think Maxter is. I'm gonna go with Maxter. I love nosfa. He's my boy, but Maxter just has that little more to prove. You know, as we mentioned, he's kind of new to the league. It just means more, I think, to him to kind of stand his ground and make a good impression and just get these wins racked up right off the bat. And also, you know, that underlying SA kind of who's going to be the king of SA thing, I think, is going to come out a lot. And Maxter's got something to prove and something to say about it.
Well, we're split, so you know, one of us will be right.
Yeah, exactly. We're covering all our bases. That's teamwork.
Good on you. Do we have the picks and bans then?
I think we're waiting on those shortly right now. So if you want to get into it right now, there it is. There's the queue.
Right
there
on
it is.
cue. So we do see, Ruins of Sana, a little bit interesting. We got the quite a big difference in the stack matchup there with nosfa coming out with the Kick up against the Scale Bearer. That will make for a very tasty matchup. The rest of it is not too uncharacteristic. nosfa picking up the BGL Corrupted Keep, very meta, as is the Strogan Pika. I do like the speed, and that, as we've seen in the past, really makes Max's playstyle shine. And then leading up on a work we have doing versus Athena, we're going to get very standard picks in that matchup. But I guess the defining pick to me is going to be that Ruins, because I think Nosfa's life could be pretty hard going up against the scale, because once again, the scale is very quick for his size.
Yeah, and the bull rush down by the heavy is
Yeah.
going to be absolutely brutal. But nosfa, with that speed, he can play plus back rail, kind of keep his distance, and then maybe when he gets 1 or 2 rails, he can go in. But even then, scale's so tanky. If he starts giving up items, it's going to be absolutely a nightmare for nosfa to try and get in on that.
No, definitely. Be interested to see how Maxter plays on scale. We know he loves to play the rail game. He picked up incredibly intelligent angles, and if he can do that and out rail nosfa as well, then difficult. We've also seen on Awoken play that very, very effectively. One strategy deployed up against holding the rail angles at the mid ground over by the stairwell. So he's gone into each one of his matches. He does that again.
Well, we're hoping. Again, every map is money, so none of this 2-1 stuff. Everyone wants to 3-0 and stack their paper, similar to a rapper. But we'll see. We're going to get into this map series rather shortly, and I'm wondering kind of what chat thinks about everything. If they want to lock in their predictions into the text box, write your rants, write your favorite. Let's see who's going to take it here as we're patiently awaiting getting into this game. But yeah, I'm going to lock in my maxter prediction, but I don't know if I'd go full 3-0, honestly. I'd say 2-1.
Seeing the picture band, now I'm actually leaning towards like 2-1. I stick with Nosfa 2-1, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. I don't imagine it either way. If I'm honest.
Well, we love chaos, so
We do love
we might see a little bit of that here. A 3-0 would be kind of outstanding. Again, battle for South America, but we'll see. I think you're right. The Ruins pick, Anarchy versus Scale Bear. nosfa knows how to play Scale. He's no stranger. He's played Scale before, so maybe he's got a little something up his sleeve for that specific matchup.
I just always feel a little bit trepidation when I light in. Yeah, it's a bit different if you're playing maybe an Athena, because you have the additional utility to fall back on, either movement capability, just that pure ghost walk. But things like an Anarchy just feel so vulnerable to me that you just, particularly off the back of a death, coming back into a spawn, no stack, no weapon, that's the most vulnerable. When you put that pressure up as a heavy champion, your life. But we do jump into it now over on nosfa, who's popped that dual wield very early to secure himself the Mega, which he has done. Got the weapons as well to consolidate on the mid ground. Play.
nosfa has prime position right here. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous here. It's LG from nosfa down, securing the Mega. maxter making his way towards the red room, trying to escape. And here's the fight at the heavy. What a rocket from nosfa.
See the power of the speed coming through once again. I had no right to bully his way into pick up that heavy, but doing so effectively. Yes, he get a rocket, but look at the stacks. They are bang on even. It was definitely worth it. And this is the way nosfa's going to have to play. Nice and calculated. Methodical. Manage the mid-ground effects. At the moment, I think it's on the Mega, but see the dual wield comes out. He wants to consolidate both these items. Great use of the Pika to try and delay, which he does effectively. Just needs to get out of there cleanly. I don't think that's what.
And he's reeling now. Does stack back up off a little something. He does have LG, but limited cells here. As nosfa makes his way back to the LG to re-up himself. Got that orange beam. Halloween right around the corner, of course, but let's see who's got the trick and who's got the treat, as there it is. nosfa picks up the first frag.
Yeah, nicely played. Ground his opponent down. Secured now both major items, so he's in a little bit of trouble. Have to play these corners. Be wary once again. He's also pushing his opponent here on the jump pad. It should be a relatively easy frag. Instead, holds on to it. Dual wield. Using the kill, but now it allows his opponent a little bit of a lifeline to get back into this map.
25 HP is what maxter survived with right there, and he might not survive that, and that was beautiful by nosfa. rocket to rocket, well played, gets the heavy as well, still very weak, needs to try and stack back up. Maxter knows it. Here's the attack here, the passive will heal him back up to 25 along with a bubble to make it 50, but nosfa very, very close to dropping to Maxter there, but fantastic play with those rockets that heavy. More LG now as the battle rages on in the red room. nosfa with the low ground, doesn't want that, but he does want this heavy here as he's right on time, dodges that rocket. Now the stack looking a little bit better here. Maxter trying to do some sort of damage again on this map. Heavy machine guns so critical, you could chip away so well. Put the beat on him though, and the dual wield Halloween beams coming out again, but not lucrative for nosfa as he can't even catch Maxter out. He does catch the Mega, and so again, nosfa full map control. Rockets coming out again in the red room, and nosfa capitalizes again. Maxter getting caught out. That'll be 3-0 for the Brazilian, putting his mark on this map, trying to take the lead even more. Who will be crowned the king of South America here? nosfa waiting from down below. Rockets raining out. A little bit of damage from Maxter. There's the peeker. There's some good damage as well. nosfa now stuck behind the LG. Needs to be careful. Fights his way out. There's the dual wield for a little bit of insurance to ensure that he can escape. There's the 50 shard. A little more LG. That's a great set of rockets. Again, nosfa absolutely going off with these rockets. LG into machine gun. Just trying to keep that damage out, keep up. Again, red room, Maxter needs to be careful here as he's backing off. nosfa actually weak. Still putting out that damage, and now he's got him trapped. There's the LG again, but Maxter on the front foot now, and there's the peeker, almost gets the frag. 26 HP, nosfa in a bad way in the red room. Maxter has to know he wants to finish this out. 22 HP, and there's a very cheeky nail jump to get out of there, but he's still so weak. How is nosfa alive? More rocket damage, and Maxter finally takes him out here, putting himself on the board 4-1 as we're getting closer and closer to the midway point. There's a decent rocket here on the Mega. Again, nosfa trapped, but Maxter not really finding a good angle to keep him trapped there as he is running low on rockets. Needs to be careful. Doesn't really have many weapons at his disposal either. Tri-bolt would be kind of perfect in that situation here, trying to make his move. There's the peeker for a little bit of reconnaissance and some decent damage here. So he's pushing him away. nosfa getting caught out in the graveyard, needs to be careful. Some good LG on LG here. Maxter wants to commit. He knows that he's weak, but that rocket should send him packing as he has to concede. That's good defense by nosfa there. Could have been a big, big shift in momentum here, but Maxter will be content with the items for the time being as he's only down 3. And this map lends itself to comebacks for sure here, as there's the peeker right over top, just bops him on the head. Now he's going to drop, but the Halloween beam from nosfa so strong as he jumps in with the rockets. 5 HP, and the telefrag will do it. Maxter cannot hide as nosfa just goes right through, and he gives him a deep, deep embrace. There's some rockets here over in the mini banana. Maxter needs to be careful here. nosfa still a little bit better off. We're at the 6-minute mark, 4 frag lead for nosfa. Maxter trying to get something going here. nosfa just appears too strong right now on Corrupted Keep. LG on LG again. The dual wield comes out from the Brazilian, trying to pepper him as much as he can. Maxter so incredibly weak. Can he make it out into the red room? He survives for the time being, but he needs to be extremely careful here. He needs to absolutely stay alive as long as he can. This frag could be everything. Could break his back and lead to another one and then end it. Right now, he still has a chance. There's the rocket. Almost gets a direct. A little bit of machine gun after. A lot of LG, and wow, nosfa popped in the air. 4 HP, but he puts the beat on him, though. 6-1. Just looking so incredibly strong right now. Again, and this is going to be absolutely critical for nosfa here as Maxter Bit of a panic peeker there, but he didn't really have a choice. Off the spawn, here's the LG again. nosfa fighting for his life. He's trying to back up into the Mega, and he does. And he puts out so much damage as well. 7-1 now, looking more and more dire for maxter. He's got to start. This is kind of the time where he has to start pushing, even though he won't have items or stack. Mega again going to nosfa. It's 2 minutes now. The 2-minute warning for maxter.
Tell me when I'm live.
This is going to be brutal. There's a peeker that's going to be free damage for nosfa here as he gets in on the heavy as well. And maxter, that peeker cost him that item. And that's not going to be what broke his back. There were mistakes made earlier than that, but that one's going to be a huge one. An 8-1 as nosfa pins him with a rocket. And this
you know how I feel for it.
Oh yeah, I thought the action was so good it made you pass out, and maxter with that rocket. That's going to be a good start, but with 1:30, I don't know.
I'm used to carrying you, so thanks for returning the favor. I'm not entirely sure what
My back is broken. You weigh a lot more than you look, and it's pure muscle. 780 kilos of pure steel here. As the peeker coming in, doing the damage. He needs to follow up. Time is of the essence here. maxter trying to make it work, but I can't help but feel like in his head he's like, okay, the next one.
It has to be the next one. That was that didn't go to plan for sure. So onwards and upwards. We'll say that this was nosfa's choice, and the weapon of choice for maxter has always been the rail. Quite evidently, we don't have a rail here. So moving on to ruins. New game plan, new chance to show us what he's made of, and this is where we said he could make quite a big statement playing that scale mirror up against the Anarchy. So pressure's now on nosfa to keep this momentum up. He played exceptionally well for as much as I saw in this game, ever silent as I was.
You were watching it all though. You were just chomping at the bit to throw out some information here. But I think you're right. I think the rail is kind of maxter's game, but in this specific scenario, nosfa is going to be the one to have to utilize it a little bit better, as getting up close to scale bearer might be instant death. So we'll see how he wants to play it on the next map, Ruins. But for this one, nosfa is going to be very happy to put that money in his pocket, make a statement right off the start, and say, you know what, this isn't going to be that easy for you, as 10-3 will be the final score in favor of the Brazilian. So, I mean, I don't want to say textbook. There was a lot of plays there where maxter had the ability to kind of take that frag. I mean, we saw nosfa get low on a lot of those fights, but the item control was a little bit better from nosfa, and just those fights went nosfa's way, and then he was able to restack off of said items and kind of put maxter in a hole a little bit after the 5-minute mark, around 5 or 6 minutes, and from there it was bad times for maxter.
Yeah, he was allowing property to try and get in on these items and just capitalizing upon his mistakes and upon his over-aggression. So you could see that he definitely had practiced against maxter a lot. He had figured out and knew what he wanted to do. He wasn't fazed by the aggression, speed that maxter wanted to play at. Instead, he just calculated, played pretty passively for the way we see nosfa play, but it worked out like a charm.
Just beautiful rockets too. nosfa putting on a show. Look at these. So many air rockets, so many directs. Just hitting everything, really. We didn't really see a lot of machine gun, is what I would like to see on this map, especially, you know, taking those distances. Again, as you mentioned, no rail, so kind of machine gun is where you want to go. But again, if nosfa gets close and he's got those rockets, why not, right?
Exactly.
Dual wield again and again and again, working so well for nosfa. So yeah, I mean, mental reset, right? As always, it's always tough to take a loss, especially when you're going kind of against your, you know, not nemesis necessarily, although again, I don't know the drama behind the Blackhawks clan thing. I don't know if there is drama, I'm just saying. But yeah, so down a map, maxter's going to have to come out swinging on ruins, and again, with the huge stack advantage and the ability to kind of bull rush and close the space a little bit easier, especially against an Anarchy, he might have the slight advantage, but at the same token, playing against an Anarchy, it's a very hit and run situation, especially with that rail.
Yeah, and you can see that maxter actually out-damaged nosfa, but there's a much bigger focus on nosfa picking up the the Mega. So nice strategy from nosfa, and as much as the pressure came up from maxter, he had an answer for everything.
Yeah, so many megas, a lot of light armors as well. Those goes a long way on Corrupted Keep, as we see 24 to 8. That's, you need those to kind of give yourself all the advantage you can. A lot of shotgun coming out. Shoddy Pippin, I know your favorite weapon in the game. Fantastic. Again, the percentage on the rocket doesn't really do it justice, because nosfa was hitting so many air rockets, so many directs. But yeah, great performance from nosfa right out of the gate. Kind of leaving maxter maybe scratching his head a little bit, or maybe just looking forward to ruins in general. So we'll see if he can play kind of that rail game. Maybe he's got a little something up his sleeve, a lot of traps with the bull rush, close quarters, into the again, Shoddy Pippin might come out a lot in this this map. It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it, and I want to see if nosfa can kind of keep up that aggression and kind of play that hit and run style that I'm assuming he's gonna play with Anarchy.
It's gonna have to be hit and run for sure. You want to always be in your opponent's face, but at a distance, safely. You need to keep the pressure on, but you also need to be safe about it. That's why it's such a difficult, fine balancing act of making sure their stack doesn't get out of control, but not leaving yourself too vulnerable as well.
Especially when you're hitting rockets like nosfa, it might be a little tempting to try and go up close and personal, but it's the last thing you want against the scale bearer. So yeah. Especially if the items start going his way, then he has to be very, very careful.
I think, once again, favoring the Mega would probably be the wiser choice. Can get a little bit chaotic down in the heavy armor area, particularly if you just take a stray rocket as an Anarchy. It's just going to leave you incredibly vulnerable. At least on the Mega area, you've got multiple escape options. It's a broader fight and combat space, so you can play the rail game, play the mid-range game. That will probably be what I would favor him doing, and then trying to poke away at his opponent as he's trying to escape from the heavy.
Yeah, and if he wanted to, I mean, nosfa, again, got a lot of pride. He's not scared of anyone. If he wants to, he can kind of use that inject as a pocket mega and fight for the heavy, and kind of maybe get up close and personal to maxter and say, I'm not afraid of you. And I'm looking forward to if he does that right off the bat. But again, map number 2, we're going to get into it. nosfa versus maxter on ruins. nosfa, of course, just took map number 1, and maxter wasn't happy about it. So we are live now on nosfa. War Rage is on, a little bit of plasma, but nothing landing here, and a quick rail for nosfa and a quick heavy.
Yeah, got everything he needs to fight. As you say, pop in the injection off the start. That's the only downside of playing around the Mega, is it does limit the overall effectiveness of that, but at the same time, you've got to be as safe as you can. Well, interested to see how he does play this map, though. Oh, if he actually went through there, he could have died, as maxter was waiting in the corridor. Raining down rockets from above, nice initial damage. nosfa still wants to push in, though. He knows the timing.
Yeah, I'd say he was definitely fortunate not to make that rocket jump earlier here. It does take a stray rocket to the face. Inject is back up for nosfa. Oh, and there it is, up close and personal. The scale bearer comes out. There's the Shoddy Pippin. There's the inject to keep him alive a little bit longer. The LG beam isn't going to be enough, and now he's looking for a little bit of a rail. Anything he can before he passes. Ooh. And shotgun will do it. Maxter puts himself on the board, nosfa putting out as much damage as he could, but it wasn't enough.
If he gets both these items, it is bad, and nosfa actually isn't going down for the heavy. I don't think that maxter has realized that, though, as he does miss out on it eventually. nosfa playing very carefully down in that area.
Rushes up for maxter as he's waiting at the T-Con, and there it is, a little bit of LG drive-by here. Looking for that rail angle, he's going to miss just barely, but maxter still with a superior stack. Inject is up for nosfa.
And you can see it's actually maxter that's playing slightly passive, but he's playing up in this corridor here because if his opponent does rush through, you see him setting up with the shotgun. If Anarchy runs through that corridor and takes a full shotgun blast, it's almost certainly death. So he's actually playing much more positional than nosfa at the minute, and in doing so, he's limiting any damage capability of nosfa, but nosfa does run in quite aggressively, and it doesn't work out. One thing he has done is done a lot of damage, so this is a good opportunity for him to come back off the spawn and try and pressure his opponent, because maxter doesn't have a lot to work with.
Oh, and there's the shotgun from nosfa as well, putting him on the board. Very good push there over in the rail. Taking down that scale, just chunking that intergalactic warlord with the boomstick. And we have a match. ZSX here, 1-2, and here's another fight. Plasma coming out, there's the bull rush, and again, the damage, the mega, isn't gonna be enough. So close, that rocket. So close. I think it went through his legs. The kickflip over will save nosfa's life and tie it at 2.
Nice, and the inject will open up very soon. Should pop it almost immediately. Hasn't got any resources to work with, but at the same time, there's no major items up, so we'll want to try and deal some damage over in this heavy area. You can see him patrolling, picking up the lights. Inject comes off cooldown, uses it immediately. Spot on play from nosfa. Nice rail as well.
Ooh, another great rail from nosfa, and he smells blood here. He's going to push in. There's a good defensive rail from maxter. He needs more, though. The LG might be enough. Swaps to rockets. There's the tribal using anything he can. Another defensive rail from maxter. Can he survive this? 70 HP. And he makes it across just barely. That rail would have been absolutely glorious from nosfa. That's got to be so frustrating. Really good defensive rails from maxter there to keep himself alive.
Living on the edge, absolutely. But he is alive for now, and nice use of the bull rush, but can he finish him off? The damage isn't coming through just yet, and instead, nosfa's the one on the aggression. Pretty clumsy from maxter after a good opening engagement.
Really good bull rush into the air pop. Couldn't find the follow-up damage, and nosfa will survive. But the idea was there. The execution was a little bit off. Missed rail from nosfa there, almost getting a shoulder shot. Things are heating up right now here. nosfa on the back foot. maxter has a huge stack advantage, and he wants this frag. There's a little bit of splash damage. Surely he's going to push through. There's the rockets. Nice. maxter takes that frag 3-2. nosfa trying to stop him with his own rockets, but nothing doing here. His bull rush is back up as well. And I think he smells blood. I think he heard that skateboard looking for the rail ankle. Just swaps off at the last second. Unfortunate.
And you can kind of feel this game now settling into the groove, as we just talked about, where nosfa is playing a hit and run style and the pressure coming relentless the more that stack mounts up from maxter. The rail was key though. Every single one of those rails will halt a little bit of momentum. But that rocket was absolutely beautiful.
No more rails from maxter. Has bailed him out before. He does have a bull rush, and there it is just to get out of there. But he stops short. LG on LG. There's the inject from nosfa to stay alive.
He's out of position with the heavy, and now maxter's got a good opportunity to wind back round, go through the staircase, set up for the heavy. nosfa's going to be in time, but perfect rocket jump to stop that momentum from nosfa, and he's in a lot of trouble. Inject's not up for another 30. He's just taken both of the lights as well, so there's really nothing on the map. He's just going to have to hide.
Bull rush will be back up temporarily here, just in time for the heavy, if nosfa decides to show his face here. I don't think he will, as that's going to be a free heavy for maxter. That stack looking really huge, and there's the LG pin. Perfect positioning from nosfa there. So much damage. Relatively unreturned as well, as now the stacks are about even as Mega's up. That's going to go nosfa's way, and that was a very, very beautiful play from the Brazilian.
Was indeed, but you can see maxter holding this choke point strong. That's exactly what he needs to do. Nothing's up though. He needs to wind back around. He wants to deal some sort of damage. Otherwise, nosfa will be able to continue to pressure. We see him coming in. The inject is popped. maxter needs to run. Oh, did that rail hit? I don't think it did.
Not sure, but run he did, as he wasted the bull rush on here. And now we see the shift from offensive bull rush to get me the hell out of here bull rush. 3-2, holding on to the lead for dear life. There's some LG. nosfa's going to drop right in, and that's going to be riding the lightning, but the rocket switch is going to be the frag. 3-3. A little risky right there, but again, nosfa's rocket's right on point.
Just realized the heavy's gone. I don't know why Max is really sticking around here. He's taking way too much damage, and nosfa will be able to follow up here. Eats a rail of his own, so needs to be slightly more careful. Done enough damage, but I think maxter will be able to steal away this Mega. Gets him up to a good fighting stack. Good rail coming out as well. Not railable though. Max has done enough for now. He needs to get some weapons, and then he needs to try and combat down on this heavy. He's out of position. Slightly mistimed it seems. Good follow-up rail. They're both exchanging rails perfectly, as they are maintaining each other's stack well at this point in time. 3 minutes to go. And no one's had a firm grip on this map. Every single time it looks like it. Some great plays come out one side or the other.
Good rail. Almost gets another one. Inject is up for nosfa. He's holding on to it. He's just out of rail range right now. Actually, he's rocket jump into the heavy. Whoa. A little crazy here from nosfa, but again, he still has the inject, and it actually works out. There's the inject after the heavy pickup, so his stack is absolutely massive. Bull rush is up for maxter, and Mega will be up in relatively free as nosfa just holding this long corridor. Playing it slow as it is tied at 3, rounding the 2-minute warning here.
Yeah, as much as that was some great work from maxter to keep his opponent chipping away at him, he's missing out on these major items when he really shouldn't be. Do feel that maxter should be putting on more pressure. Just let nosfa get away with picking up that heavy. And now he's in position. He's missed out on this mega as well. And you can see the cracks once again of maxter's players. All the great work, all you have to do at this level is slip up once or twice and your opponent will take the map away from you. And I think he might have given way too much latitude to nosfa. Too much respect, perhaps.
Too much respect, too much miscalculation. Either way, it's adding up here as nosfa again has his run of the map. And he has inject, so he can get up close and personal on this scale here. maxter taking position, trying to rail. nosfa fearless. He's going to push into this T-Con. A little bit of rocket spam. He wants this Mega. A little bit of a missed rocket there here, so Mega will go maxter's way as we're getting closer and closer. Are we going to see a sudden death?
I would like to see maxter commit and hard commit for this heavy. He's got the stack to do so. It's the perfect time. Does he have the timing? I don't think he does. If I would have loved to see him just set up macho, alpha it, get down there and say, this is my heavy. But once again, he's allowed nosfa back onto the map, and you can see as soon as nosfa feels confident, he's the one to go on the initiative. He's missed out on that mega, but he's still sticking around to fight. He's completely confident in his aim, and he's done an immense amount of damage. He should be able to follow his opponent here. Big shotty to the face, and for me, that comes down to just too much respect for maxter.
That was just nosfa saying, I know I can get this frag. He didn't even have rockets. He didn't even re-up his rockets. He didn't care. Great LG into the stylish strafing and shotgun. That's going to give him the 4-3 lead. 15 seconds. maxter has to push. There's no choice here, as inject will be up very shortly. Now it's up 10 seconds, and I think that's going to be the game here, as nosfa steals that one away. There's a rail. Maybe one more inject through the telly. Can he find him? From below, no, the rail won't hit. And that was a nail biter there down to the end here. All it took was a little, I don't know, a little juke and jive there over by the Rockets, and the shotgun ended up being the difference maker, 4-3 in favor of nosfa.
Absolutely, and I think we summarized it at the end. There was some great plays from both sides. It was a very rail-heavy game. That's what we expected, but there were times in the game, some critical times in the game, where maxter could and probably should have gone on the offense more than he did. We know he loves to play this positional style, but once again, it feels that nosfa had the edge on that. He knew roughly where maxter was going to be positioning and played around that. And you saw every single time that maxter forfeited these items and nosfa had a fighting stack, he then popped an inject and went on the aggressive. He wasn't afraid to back down from these fights, and he had the aim to back it up as well. So good play from nosfa. He did what he needed to do. Unfortunate, I think maxter can take a lot out of that, though. It was only 4-3 after all, and I felt the game was very much in his hands for the last few minutes.
Yeah, that play right there, just fearless dropping on in the LG. Knew he had the stack, and this play right here, so much LG from below. Note, no rockets, doesn't care. There it is, a little bit of juke and jive, missed rail, and the shotgun will do it. And that's just pure nosfa, you know, no fear kind of play that we're used to seeing from him.
Yep, you can see actually favoring the heavy, and that was down to maximizing the effectiveness of that inject, which is something that nosfa did extremely well. Pretty low damage game across the board. Actually really low rail accuracy from maxter, which was quite damaging for him. But it was the use of that inject and the way in which nosfa was able to consistently build himself an extremely large stack, which made him confident enough to take these close range engagements against maxter. And as soon as he was actually getting into maxter's face, maxter looked a little bit lost in the close combat compared to how confident we've seen him in the past with the rail at hand.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see a little more shotgun. We saw early on the switch to shotgun from maxter, but I mean, up close and personal, a little bit of bull rush and shotgun goes a long way. But because of nosfa's style of play, we saw near the end there, near the mid-end point, maxter was using bull rush just to escape and get out of sticky situations.
Yeah, and that's not how you want to be using it. It's obviously a utility tool as much as an offensive tool, but when you're up against an Anarchy, you want to be using it to chase him down, to bully him, and in those tight corridors, you can use it. Ruins is not the best map to use it on because it is quite an expansive map overall, but there's still some good opportunities to use it. And if you're forced to use it defensively, you're often kind of just chasing away the inevitable of death because it's so hard to get that stack back up.
Yep. So that's 2 in a row for nosfa. We still got 1 left. Can maxter put himself on the board based on these 2 performances we've seen?
We've got Doom against Athena up on Awoken. When I've seen maxter play in the past, Awoken has traditionally been his best map. So I would hope so. But based on these performances, it feels that nosfa's, as we said, he looks more mature. He's got a more rounded game, and the fact that I think they practice together or have done in the past quite a lot feels to me that he's the one actually taking that learning experience to the level that he needs to, and actually abusing or manipulating maxter in the way he wants him to play.
So a lot of hooks and shoddy Pippin is what you're saying.
For low IQ people like you, yes.
How dare you? But yeah, I mean, if it works, right? If it works. We saw his rockets be spot on too, so I think nosfa's going to be high flying action with Athena, a lot of rockets, but Doom is really, really strong on Awoken, so I kind of hope maxter can bounce back and at least put 1 map on the board, get some money in his pocket, but we'll see. Nosfa's looking really strong.
Rail needs to come and be more effective than it was. It's definitely his key weapon, and we kind of banked on it being effective on that last map, and hitting less than 30% at this level is not going to be able to win you a game when it's such a critical weapon for you. So if he can get that flowing, then he's got every chance in the world to take this map away.
Well, here it is, live on map number 3, nosfa versus maxter. Nosfa up 2 in the series. Maxter trying to get at least some money out of this. There's rockets coming out, a little bit of misdirection hook there from nosfa. And yeah, it's got to be a bit of a mind play, though. When you're missing these rails and you know how much you rely on them, you kind of start wavering your self-esteem and your confidence in those shots. So I think once maxter maybe strings a couple shots together, it'll help out immensely. Here's the tri-bolt spam coming out, making sure that he doesn't dive on that heavy for free. There's the dive. And here's the chase, LG on LG here. Maxter trying to fight his way out of a corner, switching weapons here. There's the hook, there's the shotgun. So I guess simpletons sometimes reign supreme, ZSX.
Sometimes. It's only 1 minute in, come on now. Anyway, we do have another game in here, but the Mega is up in 1 second, and nosfa's the one in positions, and maxter kind of outmetted himself by jumping up onto the mid-ground there. And that's something that we've seen is a common theme so far, is just nosfa's better itemization, better item play overall. He's the one that's been in control of the positioning and in control of the items, and so that's something I would like to see maxter get a little bit more emphasis on, just simplifying his play. And it's way too early for this item. The damage is good enough to win it though, as nosfa does need to back away. Uses his last hook, and that's a critical rocket as well.
That was just so pretty. That was an incredible rocket there. Maxter reeling after that one, wondering which one of y'all kicked me here as the heavy goes to nosfa. He's going to be able to hook right back up into T-Con and take position for this Mega. Not going to be up for a while, but he spots him out of the telly, just missing out on that rail. Would have loved to have that damage. Still outstacking, maintaining the mid-ground here. Doesn't want to give up this 50 shard for free. Beautiful play from nosfa there. Takes a little bit of damage, can deny the 50, also falls back on the Mega. There's the hook, he wants a shotgun. Maxter has like 1 HP in the bottle. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. 2-0 for nosfa. Playing really strong here, and there's a the shotgun return from maxter into the rail. And then nosfa just getting a face full of buckshot.
Shotgun MVP so far. Completely unexpected. nosfa slightly too aggressive. First mistake of the game. maxter needs to make it count. He hasn't got enough weapons to contest, so he is being held at bay by the rocket of nosfa. Able to skate himself around, restack a little bit, and then pick himself up a rocket through the teleport. So just in time for the heavy as well to deal some damage. Nice rail, that's critical. There's also plenty of time before the Mega. Using his audio cues, unusual rail position, and that's something that we have seen him do on this map before.
nosfa playing slow. Maxter just throwing out a couple rockets down banana for information here, but we see his rail heating up slightly. And that's going to be huge for maxter here, as again, taking position on the middle ground here, taking that 50 shard as well, just waiting. There's a rocket somehow. nosfa dodges that one. Missed rail from maxter here, but he will get in on the heavy for free. nosfa still weak on the stack. Maxter, this is where he needs to go aggressive. This is kind of where you talked about. He has the stack advantage, but he doesn't really put his foot on the gas when he needs to. Let's see if he can do it. Looking for an opening rail. There's a little bit of tri-bolt here, trying to pepper in some damage. But again, we kind of see he's not going full throttle like he should. Picks up the Mega, and his stack is massive.
maintaining stack is always going to be #1 priority. But you can see that the effectiveness that nosfa is on the defense, the fact that he's not going aggressive is allowing nosfa to play a bit comfortable up on this position. So there's one thing about going aggressive and another overcommitting. So you need to be pressuring your opponent. He's allowing nosfa into these positions to deal damage.
Decent tri-bolt there from nosfa. Again, maxter running the items. So the stack is there. He just needs to find this one good opening shot. But as you said, the defense from the Brazilians so good. That rocket's fantastic into the rail, and now maxter on the back foot. There's a nice jump, but the LG chase from nosfa perfectly timed.
Ooh, all that stack for null. Didn't even really touch nosfa for the last minute or so, even though he had the full stack advantage the entire time, and now he's down another 2 frags.
nosfa's heating up. All these spawns here just right up close and personal. LG to shotgun isn't going to be enough. He's getting peppered down. 32 HP, but the buckshot finally lands. nosfa's so weak. There's a great rocket off the spawn. nosfa's a bit of a rocket man right now. 5-1. His rocket's so fantastic this entire series. Asserting dominance, and you hate to see it here. 5-minute mark, 5-1.
You've got to be looking at yourself if you're maxed now, thinking like, what do I do in this situation? I had full control of all major items for a good 2 minutes. Couldn't even find my opponent, and now I'm down 4 frags. There has to be a massive readjustment in the way he approaches this game.
Yeah, a bit brutal here for maxter. This nosfa just looks so confident here. The way that he's playing the Athena, now he's controlling the mid ground, just waiting. Mega's going to be up. He hears him. He uses the trap with the rockets. A little bit preemptive there. Missed out on some damage, but now forces maxter on the low ground.
Nice.
LG on LG here. Needs to be careful. It's good damage from maxter. nosfa needs to back away. The rocket follow-up is decent. 51 HP, but he hooks out of there just in the nick of time. Does have a 50 shard to work with. That's going to help a little bit. Out of rockets, needs to re-up. Goes through the telly to do so.
This is a big opening now.
Yeah, after all that, still 4 down. And that rocket, just every time there seems to be a glimmer of hope, the rocket goes straight to the face. Now, maxter returns one of his own, but nosfa still has a decent stack here.
Wow, and already nosfa's got himself back into a position where he can contest for this mega. He's got more stack than maxter. maxter is there, but should he be? Good opening rail, but they're both incredibly low, and maxter peeking for his life, and it's not going to be worth it, as now he's missed out on that, and nosfa's got prime position to take control on this next heavy as well, and maxter is working with nothing.
14 HP, still taking rail angles. He's going to stack back up off 125, but he's so weak. And maxter doesn't really have a choice, and there's a great rail threading the needle, clear through the telly. Fantastic shot from nosfa, up 5 as time is ticking, and it's looking more and more grim for maxter.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got an answer for the way in which nosfa's playing. nosfa's playing exceptionally well. He's hitting every single crucial shot, and the use of those hooks to speed around the map has been very important in his success as well. So there's still time to make a comeback though. This could be a good opening, but the heavy spawns in time, and now he will be able to go up and finish him off with the shotgun.
I mean, we've said it time and time again, but the Brazilian wax is strong right now. 7-1, 2 minutes left. nosfa just flying around. I think he knows he may have this in the bag. It's going to take a miracle for maxter here.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, after this next heavy, he has to put his foot firmly on the gas and not take it off as he's forced to use his last hook.
And I like that, okay? He's not proud enough to say that I don't need a hook. He's like, I'm going to stay on the map. That would be embarrassing, so that's fine. I'll burn some utility just to make sure. See, rocket jumps out of harm's way here. Needs to be careful. He doesn't want to give up anything. A minute 30 left, still a little bit weak here as maxter trying to find him. And now it's just going to be a game of keep away for nosfa.
Yep, the job is very much done. nice, clean 3-0 for nosfa is just what he needed to get back onto the scoreboard, get some dollar in his pocket, and cement his status as, you know, #1 SA.
Yeah, that's absolutely what he did. He made quite the statement here in the series, and you know, it is surprising to see the 3-0. Didn't really expect it.
No, I really felt that maxter could come through and take a map away. I did feel that nosfa had it within him to do a 3-0, but the way that we saw maxter play in week 1 and the hype that's been built around him, that we would see something a bit better than today. But all credit to nosfa, he looked on fire, and I think it's one of those matchups you can see that they have played against each other a lot, and nosfa with more experience has understood what he needs to do to counter maxter. I don't think we've seen the best of maxter today, and I think he'll be the first to admit that. Not only from a mechanical point of view, but just from a strategy point of view as well. So he'll be taking a lot of learnings away from this. And nosfa is a very difficult opponent for anyone. So it's definitely no shame to go down 3-0. And for the vast majority of the maps, they were incredibly close.
Absolutely, but at the end of the day, nosfa looks maxter in the eyes and say, I'm the daddy. So 3-0 to nosfa, the Brazilian reigns supreme. But well done. The games were close. The scoreline's not always indicative of how close they were. But all that money goes to nosfa.
It does. And to your point, there was some key moments in particularly in the last 2 games that maxter had wrangled away control. He had a very commanding position. And particularly on this map, he just got outplayed. The way in which nosfa was able to Athena to keep the pressure up, to create some amazing rocket and rail angles, just nullified what maxter was putting on. But it didn't ever feel like, as you said, he tried to put the offensive on as much as he could have. If you're going to go down, at least go down trying. It was kind of half-hearted on the offense. And so that was in part just to the way in which nosfa was reading him, and in part the way in which nosfa was playing, and the fact that I think maxter relies a little bit too much on his rail to open opportunities. So it was just not favouring to take on these close combat situations, instead falling back on his rail and couldn't find the rail angles that he has done in the past.
Yeah, as you said, there is a difference between playing aggressive and you know, over committing. But I would have liked to see maxter try maybe over committing a little bit more, especially with such a massive stack. Kind of get up close and personal, make nosfa hit all his shots. Which, to maxter's defense, he was hitting a lot of them. So it's not like he had the openings and nosfa, you know, couldn't play defense. nosfa's defense all series long was fantastic. Those rockets to keep him, you know, out of harm's way. A lot of the time, those clutch rockets in the air. So it's easier said than done, but I just would have liked to see maxter try and put on the aggression a little bit more, since, you know, his playstyle wasn't really working.
Yeah, and you can see once again 27% rail. That was something we saw in the 50s and 60s when we saw him play on this map before. So it is such a pivotal factor of his game, and when it's just not ticking, then he's not playing well. And there are days where your rail doesn't hit. We've seen it from the best rail players in the world, the Killswins and the Toxes of the world. And to get to that next stage of your development, that elite level, you need to have a more rounded game. And someone like Killswin, if his rail's not hitting, he has other factors to work on. So I think that's something for maxter to take away and look at how he then can build as a player, because his rail wasn't on today and we didn't see the best of him. So how does he then move on if his rail isn't going well?
As we see the stats here from all 3 maps, shouts to nosfa. Yeah, the rail play from maxter, unfortunately, I know he's from Argentina and he's probably a football fan, a little messy, some might say. But nosfa reigns supreme. Again, the games were closer than we thought. First of all, how dare you? That was fantastic. Second of all, yeah, just really good play from nosfa there, and it's always a pleasure to watch him play, because he does have that ability to say, you know, you may outstack me, your champ may be beefier than me, I'm still going to play my game and get up in your face and make you hit those shots. And a lot of the time, sometimes, you know, they falter and they can't do it, and then he just gains that confidence and he snowballs.
Yeah, and that last map I was really impressed by the way he used the Athena, particularly when he was out of control. But obviously on Ruins, we were both favouring somewhat the heavier champion, and nosfa made it look rather simple. He had a very clear strategy of favouring the heavy, in fact, and using the inject to maximize his stack and maximizing effectiveness with that, and it worked like a charm. Every time he had built that, I guess, total capacity stack, he just went on the offense, and that's exactly what you need to do in that type of position. Is when you have those slim moments of opportunity, you need to make them count.
Yep. And again, that Ruins game came down to that last frag where we saw the battle over the rockets, and then nosfa just kind of bobs and weaves and gets that shotgun up close and personal and steals that map away. That was close, neck and neck the whole way until about 9:40. So again, the score line's very, very close. Maxter, he played great, but just not great enough. Again, it wasn't his full 100% A game, as you mentioned. But I think we're going to see good things out of Maxter the rest of the season here. And nosfa just looking really strong right now.
I think nosfa, as we said at the very opening of the show, has been one of these players I've been a little bit more impressed with, coming off the back of some relatively disappointing results from his perspective, I would say, given how much potential he showed early on in QPL starting last year. But I feel he's definitely rounded his game a lot more, and I hope some big things for this season.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we're going to see much more high-flying action here. But 3-0 is going to be the way we start today, but we're going to go to a break and come right back and see what else we got. A lot of action coming your way. Stay tuned.